We are talking with Governor-elect Dan Malloy in his first extensive TV interview since his election. All right, so listen, the election's over. What's the governor-elect do when he's just kicking back, relaxing? When you're not campaigning, not meet and greeting, the shoot is off, the tie is off. Cooking, really?
Cook.
What kind of stuff?
Let's see. Last night I made chicken salad.
Okay.
I got a pretty good recipe for chicken
pretty conservative.
salad. I had people over for dinner Sunday night. Made my trademark shrimp parmesan along with cooking some steaks. I love to spend time with my wife and family. I love to have some people over the house and just relax.
So no need for a chef
having said that,
yeah.
I like to work.
All right, but so no need for a chef at the governor's mansion then.
Well, all of these jobs you're trying to fill or not fill. What do you?
I've got to help you out a little bit here.
I imagine I'm not going to have a whole lot of time to cook as governor. So.
All right. You go away to relax a little bit. I know you lost your voice there for the campaign. Did you get away?
Yeah, I got a bad cold about a month out and really strained as a result of all of the speeches and all that, and the cold. I lost my voice. And it really isn't back to normal quite yet.
What part wore you down? We had a debate in Stanford. I was there, and you kind of mentioned as an aside to the audience that you were a bit tired of the whole campaign. I thought it was really kind of a revealing comment. What wore you out? In the end of the day, how does it feel when you go through a bruising campaign like this? What's it like when it comes to election eve?
Well, I think election eve is one of those, evenings that's just filled with anticipation. Am I going to win? Am I going to lose? What's going on? Do I spend the next 4 years saying I coulda, shoulda, woulda, or do I spend the next 4 years trying to lead the state that I love so much and that I've prepared for so diligently to lead, try to lead it? Obviously, I came out the winner in that, and I have this opportunity to reposition Connecticut, to start telling the truth to the people of the state of Connecticut about how bad things are, and they are absolutely ugly.
I'm getting to that crisis in 1 minute, but the Facebook questions, again, threw it out there on Facebook. Quick questions, a lot of feedback. Urban issues. Diversity. You've been a diversity guy. They want to know, okay, let him put his money where his mouth is. How many blacks and Latinos are on his transition team right now?
The transition team hasn't been set. We probably will have a structure that we'll be announcing shortly. It will consist of a number of working groups on issues. It will be diverse. It'll probably have a steering committee larger than the two people who are heading the transition, which are Tim Bannon and my Lieutenant Governor, Nancy Wyman.
But we'll be diverse. You will have blacks and Latinos on there.
Yeah.
A guy from the gym, Abraham, relatively said, listen, ask the new governor about privatization. He wants to create jobs. He wants to downsize government. How about jobs like maintenance and jobs like IT? Downsize that, not downsize it, but contract it out, privatize it.
I think privatization works in certain areas, but I got to tell you, as mayor, I deprivatized certain things because it didn't work. I mean, it's frequently advertised as this panacea to greater savings. I found that the properly trained and empowered workforce of a city could actually beat the prices that we were being offered and become more efficient. Yeah, listen, I was mayor for 14 years. Yeah. By the time I was done being mayor, we had increased our population by 12,000 people, and we downsized our city-side workforce by 8.4%. You go find somebody else who's done that in the nation.
Well, they disputed those numbers. I won't get into all that stuff.
No, actually, they never disputed that number. That's not true.
As far as jobs created, I don't want to revisit the whole case.
Listen, and the whole dispute about jobs was made up. Stanford had more jobs every year between 1996 and 2007 than it had in 1995. You guys, there was a guy who had an axe to grind, and he wrote a story a particular way. The reality is we had more jobs every year until till the fourth quarter of 2007 than we had in 1995. During that period of time, we were absolutely repositioning Stanford from an old industrial city, just like New Haven and Bridgeport and Hartford are old industrial cities, to one of the financial capitals of the world.
But let me challenge you on privatization. If you're saying that if you contract the jobs out to the private sector and that you're not getting a competitive bid, does that speak to the quality of businesses in Connecticut? Because it would seem that would be a good way to, one, create jobs in the state.
Well, privatization doesn't create jobs. I mean, listen, does sending jobs to India create jobs?
Well, if you have IT and you farm it out to a Connecticut company, industrial technology, if you had your maintenance people.
And if they then further outsource that to India, has that done anything?
Can you put a caveat in there? Can you put a caveat that if you have a state contracted job that you can't outsource that?
Well, why not make sure that your workforce is the best trained workforce, the most empowered workforce, and give them an opportunity to reward you by creating the same efficiencies that you would give to companies.
Okay.
That's the way I would prefer to go. Now, having said that, I told you I deprivatized. I deprivatized garbage collection for multi-family units in Stanford, and we saved money by doing it. We deprivatized certain other functions. We also moved in the direction of privatizing the management of certain functions, not the worker bees, but the management. So I mean, I'm not dead set against privatization, but I don't see it as a panacea.
Okay. So how are you going to create jobs? You know, it all comes down to whoever was going to win this thing here was the person people felt that this guy could create jobs. How do you create them?
You set an environment in which your state becomes more attractive than other states. I spoke.
Like what?
Well, first of all, I think we should not turn our back, as we have for 30 years, on the insurance industry. I want to compete for every insurance job that's going to be located anywhere in the country. I think we have to understand why we lost so many insurance jobs over a long period of time.
And why is that? In 30 seconds, why did we lose all those jobs?
Because we took our eye off the ball, and we took insurance for granted, and we didn't compete. And so when governors were calling the presidents of companies that are based here in Hartford and asking them to move jobs or open new jobs in Iowa or South Dakota or Atlanta, we weren't competing for those same jobs. We took our eye off the ball, and those days are over.
So again, make sure we're clear. You create an environment. How long does that take? People out of work now, 10% unemployment rate. How long will it take to create an environment where people outside say, hey, Connecticut's back in business?
Well, listen, 10% unemployment is reflective of, as you know, the deepest national recession, near depression, caused by, I think, failed policies of the Bush administration. First, number one, you stop digging so the hole doesn't get deeper. Number two, you set an environment which includes infrastructure investment in the state of Connecticut, and you go after industries: biotech, biomed, health sciences, old line insurance, old line reinsurance, financial services, nanotechnology, precision manufacturing, and then general manufacturing. Because I absolutely believe that the United States is going to see a level of reindustrialization that we did not envision 5 years ago. But that's going to require two things to happen. Number one, the international economy has to stabilize and start to grow. When that happens, you're going to see fossil fuel prices go through the roof again. That's going to curtail the continuing process of deindustrialization in the United States to foreign countries. And the reason it's going to curtail that is the cost of moving raw materials or half-finished materials to those countries and then moving finished products to this country is going to be too great. So this is the question for Connecticut. We lost jobs for 22 years. Many manufacturing jobs, even though the rest of the country, 48 states, only Michigan and ourselves failed to grow jobs. They shared in the creation of 22.7 million jobs in that period of time. Are we going to change significantly enough in Connecticut to be attractive to see those jobs move?
All right, we're going to ask you about the next hot sector in Connecticut. After this, they're wrapping me up real hard. What's the next hot sector here for jobs? When we come back, don't go away. We'll continue our conversation with Governor-elect Dan Malloy as he begins his transition to the state's chief elected officer. Don't go away.